What's going on, guys? It's Redbeard with Tree Savages, certified partner of Canary Tree Service. We had a really awesome chance to get out with Joe Whitledge of Whitledge Tree Service, who is also a certified partner with Canary Tree Service. And we got to watch him pull a tree off a house. He talks about the entire claims process, and I want to take you guys along for the ride, so stick around. So part of what we're going to do is your 50-50, right? 50% of this work is going to be, we're going to remove a tree from a structure. But so many people get caught up right away in the production of getting a tree off that they forget half the job is the paperwork and the documentation. So you can't take for granted that the insurance adjuster was here looking at this job. You got to provide the pictures, the lift plans, how much did things weigh, how did you use that crane, how did you use that skid steer? Because ultimately, if you're going to get paid, you got to be able to justify it. And so today with this particular job, show a little bit about how we do these. We do about one a week average. I mean, obviously it's not every week, but if you average out our year, we're doing 50, 60 jobs like this a year. Hope we can help some people get it done right. Make it easier on me when I'm doing your paperwork if you would just follow the simple steps. Most important thing with your documentation actually is preliminary, which means you're gonna get pictures before you actually work, because we can't go back and recreate those. Those are unique to the situation. All right, so the first thing, you need to have some apps set up, right? So you got Logweight Pro, you need to use iMarkup. We're gonna use that for doing things like our lift plans or overhead views, entry exit plans. The Seek app, Seek is one of them that I use. It's a leaf identifier in there. It'll allow us to take a screenshot of what kind of tree we have there. All those are pretty important. So right away with this material, I'm gonna go ahead and use my angle. All right, click on the camera. The red line is going to be true to earth, and then we're going to try to line that up about where we think it's in line with the tree material. So we're at 16, 17 degrees, and I got a picture of that. We're going to go to a Seek app. We're going to go to take pictures. We're just going to try to zoom in. Florida area, I hear they call it that. Okay, so I'm going to screenshot that. Got that. Let me go back in my library here. My screenshot, can right there. Equipment's pulling in on us already. So when you're doing your forms, we always talk about barriers to entry, overhead hazards, things like that. So right now with this one, we've got overhead hazards, we've got power lines, we've got data cables, things like that. So that's overhead. Some of the tripping and ground hazards is we got material all over the ground. Barriers to entry, we have a tree that's blocking to set up our crane. So the questions I've already asked is, hey, is there a septic system here? Is there maybe a tile under this right here for a drainage that we could collapse? Anything like that we need to know, because we'll either take extra precautions or we're gonna have to use different equipment. In this case, there's nothing in the ground. We tried to ask, but if you go to smaller towns that maybe once upon a time did not have a sewer system, you can bet there's septic tanks all over those yards, and you will find them, and you're responsible for them. Even if they're not using them anymore, it could cause damage to your equipment or your people. Talking plans on once we get the support crane, we use 50 ton, hold that log up, and we'll finish clearing out. We believe that one of the limbs is supporting the load right now, so we don't want to transfer that to the failed place, and then we'll clear this out. We're going to pull the other crane in there and get set up to start picking, get out here maybe in about an hour and a half. All right, so now we're getting down, doing your forms. We're gonna start getting engaged in what we call a critical pick. So a critical pick is pick with the crane that you had to make prevent further loss. So right now we've got 2 or 3 in there. The one that's most vertical kind of sweeps up there. We're gonna pick that. I'm probably gonna have him pick that second. We got one on the roof first. So once we get it all off of the roof, if it does shift any weight when we make that tall pick, then there won't be any damage to the roof. Right now it doesn't look like there's any damage. If it is, it's very minimal. We want to keep it that way. So we're going to take one off the house, one off that's resting on the limb there. We're still going to utilize that grapple crane because we're going to reach inside that fence parameter back there. We're going to pick one off the shed with the crane, and we're gonna pick it off the fence materials. Again, get more pictures because we wanna get diameter of that wood and the length of it, because that's gonna give it weight, and that's why we're gonna say we use the crane. And they're gonna do a few real quick here. I gotta get some pictures, but this is the part you're actually getting paid for. On the barn is actually intertwined with the piece that's touching the roof, so we don't want to pull the roof piece off first because we would also be grabbing the piece that's on the barn. So in order to minimize loss on this, we're going to try to get the one off the barn first. It'll give us a little more access to the one that's on the roof, and we'll go for it in second. We're going to also have to take this whole limb coming out sideways to gain access to the backyard. We'll do that here shortly as well. The guys that are trying to grow, I would recommend every day try to figure out a way to replace yourself. Not be your number one cutter, you should not be your number one climber, not be your number one crane operator. We all like doing the job, but I can't imagine that any of us are gonna one day just be 65, 70 years old and say, still healthy and good, and I'm gonna retire today. The idea is this should be able to happen without you being here. Guys that are really trying, I mean, I'm just saying, always try to replace yourself. Right now, kind of finalizing. We're going to take and set the trunk on the ground, so that'll neutralize that weight, and that'll allow the last major pick to be set on the ground behind it so we can get that cleaned up. We got one small piece still hung in the tree. We'll have to grab it. Then I'll have my bucket operator go through and we're going to remove some. After we get these out of the way, then we still got a good load of brush inside that fence area that'll have to come out. But we'll be able to put this crane up, use the knuckle boom, it'll load the log on itself, and then we'll work on that brush once we get the bucket out of the way. So I'd say another 30 minutes or so of actual real work here, and we'll be out. All right, guys, that's a wrap on this one.
So if you guys are already a certified partner with Canary Tree Service, go ahead and use Joe as your prime if you guys like the information that he has. If you're not a certified partner with Canary Tree Service, go to treesavages.com, click on the emergency tree removal curriculum button, get signed up. There's a free preview. There's also the paid curriculum. If you want to help with your contracts, getting trees off of houses, you want to be a part of the crane gang, you got to sign up for the full package. That gets you in, gets you the contracts, gets you the billing, gets you cranes if you need them, and gets you going. So treesavages.com, click on the emergency tree removal curriculum. I'm Redbeard, Tree Savages. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you later.